Okay, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and thank you so much for joining us on Dream Tuesday. We are excited about tonight's topic. It's all about going international with your business. We can go international with sponsoring. In some cases, we can go international with PRV and sales, and we'll go over that. So for the first 15, 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about how you can sponsor and grow your business overseas. And then for the latter half, we're going to talk about traveling overseas, i.e. the Scentsy incentive that was just announced during Scentsy Family Reunion. We are going to be cruising, and there are several destinations that we can choose from. So I hope that you guys have your notepads, your ink pens, and also if you do not have your tracker yet, please see if you can't print one out. It should be somewhere on your team pages. If not, use your notebook, and we will definitely supply a link to an unofficial tracker that you can use, so that way you can start planning your trip accordingly. Okay, so without further ado, Emily Goodneck, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Yes, of course. Thank you. So I'm very excited to introduce a very good friend of mine. Her name is Becky Sattler. She is a newer superstar director. She just recently promoted, and the way she's always carried herself in her business, I thought she was an SSD for years, but she just recently promoted, and I know that everybody in Scentsy is so excited. But she actually grew while she was a star director. She grew a pretty big international leg in, I believe it's the UK. And so I'm excited to have her chat with us a little bit about, how she established those connections and how she was able to expand her business beyond the borders of the United States, Region 1. So I'm not going to take up too much time. I will let Becky introduce herself and give you a little bit of her backstory. And then from there, she's going to talk about how she grew her business overseas. So thank you for joining us, Becky. Go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Emily. I'm so excited to be here with you. Look at all your happy faces. This is so fun. So I've been a consultant for a long time now, 13, almost 14 years, and I was a star director for 10. So if you feel like you're on the train to nowhere for a long time, it's not going nowhere. It's still going forward. And it's okay, because you can make progress. During that time, like Emily said, I did grow a really big, substantial international team. And that happened because I didn't at first. So I was a consultant. I joined in 2008, and I think it was 2009 when Scentsy Canada opened. And I remember sitting there at SFR, and they were announcing, and Scentsy Canada was going to open. And I was like, yes, I'm going to have an international business. It's going to be so great. And guess what? I didn't go anywhere with it. I didn't know anybody in Canada. And I just kind of thought, okay, it's going to come my way because we're now open. So it's going to happen for me, and I'm going to have an international team. And like I said, it didn't. I didn't have a plan. I didn't move forward. It was literally just a wish, a hope, and a dream. And to this day, my Canada team is very small, especially compared to my other regions where I focused. And if I chose to focus on Canada, I have no doubt that that could grow as well, because that's one of the big keys is once you decide that you want to go into an area, it's so much of it is mindset. It's just like any other recruiting for anywhere else. It's just with little teeny minor tweaks. You will find people where you look and where you focus. So because I missed that big train going into Canada, as soon as they were announcing the UK and Region 2, I thought, okay, this is my chance. I'm not going to miss this one. And then with Region 3, the same thing. I just saw the importance of an international team. And the reason why you'd want to do it, because you could say, well, there's as many people in California as there are in Canada. Did it really matter? Yes. And here's the reason why, is because every country, every area, even within your own country, every region, regional areas kind of have hot spots and have waves that you can ride. And the more you can diversify and put out it's kind of like leveling your camper, the more you can get those feet spread out, the less you'll tip and rock and sway as different things happen. Whether one area gets hit with some kind of economic something and then it kind of slows down, you've got those other legs in different states or even just different cities, and then different regions and different countries. And so the majority of my business is actually not in the United States. The majority of my downline is in the UK, and I have quite a bit in Australia as well. But the UK, but guess how many I have? One contact in the UK. My one girl, she wasn't even my first recruit. She was a downline of a downline, and then they just kind of left, and I helped support her. And so now Lindsay McCallum, I don't know if any of you know her, but she's a superstar director in the UK and in Scotland. And anyway, because of her, my team is huge. And so I have that benefit of having that portion of it. So as I support her in her business, she's helping make my business even more solid. So, and especially with region 3. So region 2, so, okay, just backing up. Sometimes we talk about regions, and if you don't really know what the regions are, here they are. Region 1 is the region that probably most of you are in. It's US, Canada, and Mexico. Region 2 is Europe. But we're not open in all of Europe. It's in, I think it's 7 countries. So it's the UK, Ireland, Spain, France, the Netherlands, Austria, and Germany. I think I got them all. And then the third region is 2 countries. It's New Zealand and Australia. So within those 3 regions, as long as we go into our workstation and sign the cross-border agreement, we, no matter where we are in any region, you can sponsor for other regions outside of your own region. So that's the beauty of Scentsy. They've had it set up so no matter which region you reside in, you can sponsor as long as you sign that cross-border agreement anywhere in the world that Scentsy's open. And that is huge. Now, I wouldn't say set your sights on all of them and just go blast and be like, okay, I'm going to do it all. Focus on one point. And if you say, you know what, I've just always really had a super interest in Austria, then figure out what you want to do in Austria. So you can only sell within your own region, but you can recruit and sponsor in any of the regions. So when I did it, like I said, figure out where you'd want to go and why. It's usually got to be some kind of little connection, just even if it's just something that's interesting. You can be like, oh, or you know, maybe say New Zealand. I've always had an interest in New Zealand, or some reason, or maybe you have a connection there. So you start there and you make your list. That's how I did it. I started and I made my list. And this was how I did it with Australia. When Australia was opening up, I made my list of anybody I could think of, from college roommates to my cousin. He was in professional ball and he lived in Australia for a little while, to a grad school friend of my husband's that went to teach in Australia after his grad degree, all those things. I literally, just like your list of 100, just do it for your specific area that you're thinking. Like I said, it could even just be another state within the United States. If you're like, I really want to expand in my team in North Carolina, it can literally work the same way, but you have to focus and decide. So when I did this, I contacted, I think I made up a list of like 10 people. I also have a photography friend who takes pictures all over the world. And so I contacted her to see if I could do that. And let me tell you, all of those fell through. All those referral sources, they fell through except for one. And this is my list. So this is my planner, my Scentsy planner from 2014. And here is my handwritten list. See all these little nuggets of gold that my friend gave me because she was living down there in Australia. So this is how I did it. I warmed her up and I said, okay, Michelle, Scentsy is coming to Australia. She was living in Australia at the time. It's going to be a huge opportunity. And like I said, that was only because it was new, but it can work the same anytime because it's always the best time to join. There's always some reason why it's great to expand your team there, or for them to be able to join. So I told her, I was like, it's coming. So can you think of anybody who would want to jump on this great opportunity, especially because she knew me, she trusted me, and she had seen my story developing over the years. So I wasn't just cold calling anybody. I didn't just go into groups randomly and just say, hey, anybody want to come, join me, let's open up a business in Australia. I worked with the people that I already knew. So we had an established rapport, we had a relationship. And so she gave me all of these contacts. And so I asked her, so instead of just having her give me a list of cold contacts that I would then need to be like, well, Michelle gave me your name, that's still a little bit awkward. So I always think about, if I were on the receiving end of this, what would make it feel the best to me? Because it's not slimy. Our business opportunity is not gross, but sometimes it can feel that way if we just contact people out of nowhere, even if it's a referral. So what I did is I used her to kind of be that bridge. And I said, Michelle, first I offered the opportunity to her because I said, you are my friend from America, but you live down there. You know all this whole list because I help her think of it. Why don't you join? And then I can help you get all these people onto your team. Because again, just like my experience with Lindsay McCallum in Scotland, you don't have to have 50,000. Think quality over quantity. You never know who's going to pick it up and go, but if you know that you have a really good one, it's totally fine to have them be your point guard, especially with other regions, because there's so many things to keep up with, so many things to know. And that's just kind of my own personal experience. You can do it however you want. Anyway, and I did start with quite a few in Australia that were different legs. So I didn't have my one point of contact, but it makes it a little bit easier if you, especially if you have a strong leader and you want to help others, then you mainly just support her and then she helps support, because there's so many region specific things, especially with LTOs and join promos and how much the party is, you know, even just in our own region, you say $200, but that's not the same for Canadian. That's not the same for Mexico. So you need to know a lot about your region or your area in which you're wanting to expand. So like I said, when I said, okay, I'm going into Australia, then I need to figure, what is the startup cost? How much is a minimum party? What does it take to be active? How does the peg rate work? Because again, we have PRV, and you guys with Canadian teams are a little bit more used to working with the peg rate, so it's not a foreign concept. But if you only have Region 1 United States teams, you're used to 1 PRV equals $1, and 25% equals your dollar paycheck. Well, it doesn't work that way when it's international and when you add the peg rate in there. So again, it's not super hard, it's not overwhelming, but make a list of all the things that you might need to know before you ever start contacting anybody. Kind of get to know, what are some of the major holidays? What are some things? And this one is kind of funny. You'll get to know that as you do it. But I learned pretty quickly some slang that we say that you don't say down in Australia. Like, I remember the first time that I told my team, you can do this, I'm rooting for you. Well, that's not something that you say in Australia. It's a very not nice connotation. So I quickly learned, I'm not gonna say I'm rooting for you anymore, because that wasn't something that you could say down there. But it's completely harmless for me in my region, because that's my world. So again, the first step is to decide where you want to expand. And then, like I did, make your little download of who do you know who has any kind of connections, and then work with them to help warm it up, and as well as you do your homework and figure out what that region is like. Are they doing really well right now? Again, that's a great reason to help people decide to jump on. Or are they kind of in a slump? So you can be like, actually, this is a great time to join on, because there's a lot of consultants that have just quit. So you can sweep in and help pick up their contacts. Like I said, it's all in your mindset, but it's always the best time to expand. It's always the best time to grow. So a lot of it is in your head. And if you're just like, oh, I can't sponsor, even in the United States or even in Canada or even wherever I am, there's no way I'm going to grow an international team. Then guess what? You're right. You have to believe it yourself, and you have to decide, and you have to see yourself as, let's say you're wanting to go into Australia. You have to see yourself and tell yourself, I have a nice big solid team in Australia, or I'm going to, if you can't quite get there because it hasn't happened yet, you can say, I'm going to have a good team in Australia. I'm building my team in Australia before you ever really start, because again, a lot of any recruiting, anywhere that you do it, it's all about your mindset, and you have to believe it before you can really be believable. So I asked my daughter, so we've had, like I said, ever since I missed that first go around in 2009, I have really focused on keeping my team international, just because, like I said, it really helps keep it evened out, especially in Australia, because their seasons are exactly opposite from ours. So their high season is, guess what? It's their fall and winter, which is our summer. So isn't that beautiful? So their higher season, and then they have the high because of just the holidays in like our fall time. So it's the opposite. So it really helps to equal out and balance out to where you have a stable business. And if you're really serious about Scentsy, and if this is really something that you want to be able to support your family, or to make big dreams come true, or even just to be able to be something that you can rely on and that's stable, it's a very strategic business opportunity to see. So I was asking my daughter on our little walk this morning. She is 11. And she's grown up with Scentsy, because like I said, I joined 13 years ago. So she doesn't know anything but having Scentsy, and but having international Scentsy on our computer, in our home for visits. I've been able to go abroad and attend SFR and even anyway. So these are what she said, and I thought this was a fun list. So she said she loves that she has exposure to other countries. She knows the difference between an English and a Scottish accent. She knows the difference between our friends that have Australian versus New Zealand accents. And it's just so fun. She knows what kinds of candies are international because, again, they'll send us little treats over when they come visit us. They'll kind of exchange little treats. New friends, even if you're just trying to look outside of your circle and you just want an international experience just for yourself, those friends in other countries are it's just so enriching, and I love it. In fact, like I said, Lindsay and her team, they're some of my best Scentsy friends. I love having them in my life. My life is literally better because of them. Even if it weren't Scentsy, like I found lifelong friends. It balances out the sale seasons. You can also take advantage of hotspots when a country is really doing well. You can help ride that wave, because that's kind of that's how our lives are. That's how businesses is. So it's to be expected that there will be high points, there will be low points, but it might not be the exact same high point as they're experiencing in another area of the world. It could be economic issues. It could be forest fires or floods. It could be a lot of different things that influence that. And the more spread out you are, the harder it is to manage everything, but the more stable it is as an actual business venture. And I joined, so I guess I joined, and I'm probably a little bit more business minded than a lot of people. That when we talk about sponsoring new consultants, we talk about those who love the product or those who are our best hosts. Well, I was neither. I don't buy things. I don't host parties. I love people, but I'm not super social. I'm not the hostess with the mostest. So I joined for the business opportunity. So I guess this just makes a lot of sense to me. In order to build a sustainable business, you treat it like a business. And how would a normal business, you can stay little mom and pop shop on the corner, and that's beautiful, and that's making a contribution to your local economy, and that's wonderful. But once you can start growing and expanding, then your reach as your little mom and pop shop on the corner can expand, and then you can kind of franchise, if you will, so that if you bake the most delicious cupcakes in the world, if you only keep them right here, then only your little corner of the world knows that. But if you can then have a satellite company in this city and then expand to this country and this state and this part of the world, then again, your little cupcake contribution can then expand outward. So don't think of it as, well, this is selfish or whatever, but just think you have something unique in your Scentsy business, in your life, in your personality, that really truly can be your beautiful little cupcake that really can make the world a sweeter place. See what I did there? Another thing that I love is the tax write-offs, because again, I'm a business-minded girl, and so to me, I love tax write-offs. And so it was just 5 years ago, exactly today, that my husband and I were in Europe for this beautiful trip to London and Paris and Scotland and Belfast, Ireland. And it was a business write-off because I went and I met with my team members in each place, and we also had opportunity meetings to help them grow their teams, because, might as well, their growing team helps me as well. So you can have adventure and business write-offs all in the same, as well. It's just really fun. So yeah, that's kind of some of the why, a little bit of the how that I did it. So going back to my story about my friend Michelle, she wrote down this big long list of 22 people, I think I counted. And then I asked her to contact them. So I offered it to her first, and she said, no, I'm not in the place in my life where I want to do this. I'm super excited for you. I know that this company is a good thing, so I trust you with these friends, these precious recruits. And remember, these aren't just names on a list. These are real, true contacts for real people. And I don't want to burn her bridges. I don't know them. So if I'm talking to Susie down in Australia and I'm kind of a jerk and just like, hey, join my team, and she's like, no, it doesn't reflect poorly on me. It reflects poorly on my friend Michelle. So she was really sticking her neck out to make that conversation for me. So I had her warm them up. And so I gave her a little verbiage. I can't even remember what it said, but it was something about like, hey, Scentsy's coming. There's this great country, this great company that I know is great. I've watched my friends have success with it, and she just loves it. It's been a good thing in her life, and it's opening in our country. I think you'd be really good at it, and I think you would really love this opportunity to join. She's looking for people to help mentor as they start their own businesses. Would you be interested in this, or something along those lines? Do you have any interest in this? Would you like to talk to her? And then if they said yes, then that's what this list was. After she already kind of warmed them up, this list was people who already said, sure, I'll talk to her. Again, no commitment. And she knows me, so she knows that I'm not pushy. Again, you don't want to push anybody into this. But so that list that I had was already people that said, sure, I'll talk to her. So then the next key is super important. Don't just do it on Messenger. Don't just email them. Get to their face, because just like your little unique cupcakes that you're making in our little fictitious story, your personality, your face, your energy, your spirit, your whatever will be what they will be able to feel. And that will help them make the decision to trust you, to like you, to feel your excitement, and for them to truly be able to see what kind of opportunity this is. That it's really not just a, hey, come in, join, and I'm going to leave you high and dry, but it's a, hey, come join my team. I will help you. This will be a joint venture and we'll have so much fun together. And it really takes the pressure off of them, and it makes it less scary and less spammy. Oh, I just had a thought, but I totally forgot it. Oh, Donald Cowan. So there is a neurologist quote. He was a neurologist from Canada, and I read his quote years ago, and it changed how I parent, it changed how I sponsor, it changed how I lead my team, it changed all of the things for me. And I can't even know, I'll have to remember it because I don't know if I even wrote it down, but it said, basically he said, knowledge leads to conclusions. Emotion leads to action. So lots of times when we think, okay, I'm going to sponsor, what do we give them? We give them information about how much it costs, even information on what the big bonus kit that they can get this month, information about how much do they have to sell, what's a minimum party, how much our products cost. Remember, that's all up here. That's information. So what did that neurologist say? A neurologist is somebody who studies the brain and how it leads to our behavior. So he said, if you stay up here, information, what does that lead to? Conclusions. So what conclusion are they going to make? Oh, you're right. It is a great time to join. And leave it there. Or, oh, you're right. That is a great value for the starter kit. Or, oh, you're right. That might even be a great opportunity in my country now. And it's going to stay right there. And then you're going to really have to push them because it's up here. And anything that they can be convinced up here, it's so much easier for this heart that's now going to be like, oh, doubts, scared, fear, all of the reasons why I'm busy and I shouldn't do it, all of that. So you have to get to the heart first, which is the emotion part. Now, that doesn't mean you have to make them cry or you have to have this big, huge moment, but that's what I'm talking about. Get face to face with them so they can feel the emotion of hope, the emotion of excitement, the emotion of opportunity. Those kind of emotions are where they will feel it here. So instead of being convinced here that it's a good idea, they'll be convinced here, and then you will be able to be like, yes, okay, I will partner with you. Then you're not pushing them, you're not pulling them because they've got it in here, and then you can help them then connect both parts where it is we're not swindling anybody. We're not trying to, it is a good business opportunity, but that's not what makes people make the decision, whether it's in America or in Canada or in Mexico or in Australia. No matter whether you're, like I said, trying to sponsor at a party or trying to go more international, if you can take it to the emotion of whatever you're trying to help them experience. Think about a commercial. How do commercials work? They don't go and list their ingredients all the time. It's, well, maybe they talk about the ingredients, but it's why it's amazing or why it's safer or why it gets your clothes cleaner or whatever it is. So it's more the experience of it, because they're trying to get you to experience how much more fun you'll have playing with your kids than having to redo your laundry or something. You know what I mean? Like, take it to the emotional level. So anyway, yeah, so there's the regions. That's kind of how to do it. If you can do it the best, work through somebody. If you don't know anybody, then you can go to, again, referrals, because they might even, it's like an onion. Usually it's a lot of layers deep. So if I have a first level contact, like my friend Michelle, that's great. She gives me all these contacts. But sometimes if you're like, okay, Becky, that's great, but I don't know anybody, I can't even make your list of 10. Okay, well then that's when you start to look at, who do you know that knows somebody? So then you start asking people at every party or every order pickup or every whatever, you know, do you know anybody who lives in Australia? Do you know anybody who, whatever? And then you can help work through them. And then the third level is to go through social media outlets, or through a blog, or through, you could even do paid advertising if you're really wanting to go crazy, or you can do, like I said, social media outlets are a great way to do that. Again, remember, don't go on and just say, oh, I need somebody in such and such country. Can you help me out? Because again, that's for you. Make it something about them, and then you make it exciting for why is it a great time for them to join, or why is it a great opportunity for them to come make it. I remember I had another girl named Kara, and she joined me. She lives down the street. She's a friend of mine from high school, and she finally took the leap after years and years of me asking her and just kind of showing her my journey. She would just watch on Facebook and whatever. That was even before the days of Instagram. And finally she joined me because she saw that I was sponsoring and growing internationally, and she had contacts in New Zealand. And so she was the one that finally reached out to me and said, I can see how this business is going to work for me. This is the direction I want to take because I see you doing it. And then she jumped on and did great. And anyway, so there's a lot of different ways. It's just like sponsoring every day for any area, just with a little tweak and with a little different focus. So anyway, I feel like I've rambled, but I just love international recruiting. It's such a great missed opportunity a lot of times. It can even be international within your own region. There are so many pockets of, different ethnicities within even right where we live that a lot of times go untapped. So you can even treat that like an international kind of thing where you get to know what are their holidays, what are the areas that they hang out in, where do they like to eat, and kind of, learn a little bit more about them and try to get an in that way. So anyway, and a lot of times, like that's what I did with a lot of my team in California, and I had them look at their contacts for the Latinos who lived in their area, and then that helped us expand to Mexico. So anyway, yes, sorry for going on so long, but if you guys have any questions, I can stop for a minute or I can keep going.
No, that was wonderful. Oh my goodness, such a wealth of knowledge. My wheels are already turning. I'm like, who do I know? Who knows someone? Who knows someone? I remember going to SFR. I want to say it was 2015, maybe. I think it was Las Vegas or Nashville. I can't remember which one, but Megan Clements, who of course is the Canadian SSD, she had done an international sponsoring breakout session. And she talked about those people, those referrals that you were talking about they're basically like gatekeepers. You might not know the people, but you have to essentially ask these gatekeepers to introduce you. So, to take it a step further to what you're saying, it might even be like a 3-way call, right? Like invite them to a virtual coffee chat on Zoom and allow that gatekeeper to introduce you to this person. Let that gatekeeper tell their friend overseas what's so great about you and why they should connect with you for whatever reason. And, you can't do that. As you mentioned, Becky, you can't do that if you don't have authentic relationships. So if your relationships on Facebook are superficial, it's just the odd like, and you never talk to that person, don't expect that those people are going to jump to, give you a referral for no reason. So anyways, you had such great information. I loved your quote from the neurologist. You're right. Going back to the old adage we've heard before, facts tell, stories sell, right? So when we connect somebody with that emotion, that's going to make all the difference. So I think we saw a couple questions come through. I know Teresa asked in the chat if anybody had questions. We had one about what if you don't know anyone, which you covered that. There was one that somebody asked about how does it work if you're sponsoring internationally? How do you handle the taxes with that? And I already know answer, but I figured I'd let you answer that, Becky, if you don't mind. When you're sponsoring overseas, that's a very good question.
Emily, you might need to be my backup because I don't know exactly what they're meaning, but I don't have to file any international taxes. I am a U.S. consultant in Region 1, and so I get paid all in dollars. So Scentsy does that and that's part of your, so the within region, if you are in Region 1, so for me, I'm in America. And so if I want to be able to host parties or sponsor or anything in Canada, I have to pay an extra $5 a month and sign the international cross-border agreement. Same thing for Mexico. I can sell and I can sponsor because those are within my region. If I have a contact in Germany, then again, that's another $10 because it's out of region. And then it's only $10 for all of those regions. So for all of those areas within. So then because of that, Scentsy handles the payment of me from the commissions of their international sales, and it all just comes down to my normal dollar amount. There's a peg rate, but again, that's all happening on Scentsy's end. So I just get paid in normal dollars. So I don't have an international business according to the IRS for me. It's just I'm paid in America, in American dollars. I have an American-based business. So it makes it super simple. Now, remember, if you do sponsor and you're like, okay, $10 a month, I'm going to do that because I'm going to get this girl signed up in Germany, and then I'm going to let that go because $10 a month is too steep. Don't do that, because you won't be paid on her if you do not have that current $10 a month in the US. If you don't have that current cross-border agreement always up, you will not be paid on the, because remember, that's part of that $10 fee, is it's to let you have access to those international amounts. So you'll be paid in dollars in the same one paycheck. You don't get little portions. You will see the breakdown. It's fascinating because once you get your paycheck, you can see in the commissions tab how much you get from each director and from each different country and things like that. But it's always worth it because you can't even let your credit card expire, because you will not be paid on those other regions if you do not have that current cross-border agreement signed and currently paid for. So that was something that not everybody always knows. So yes, you have to have it to sponsor, but you have to keep it to be paid on them forever. So
yes, yeah, and I can speak from experience. I was once, for those of you who already know me, for those of you that don't, I should say, when I started Scentsy, I started as a US consultant with a social security number. I was already a permanent resident, living in the US, everything was fine, but we decided in 2018 that we wanted to move to Canada, where I'm from. And so I had to go through the change of country. And so because I am a Canadian citizen, it wasn't very difficult. All I had to do was let Scentsy know, submit a form, give them my Canadian social insurance number, and they did all of that switch over on their end. But I had to make sure that I had that cross-border agreement signed, because in my particular case, the bulk of my team is in the United States. So if I don't keep that cross-border signed and my credit card up to date at all times, they're good. Usually Scentsy will send you an email and remind you, hey, just a heads up, or at least they used to remind you there's a heads up if it's expired or you're not, if it's not filled out or whatever. But if it's not, that's a lot of income lost because you don't have those. It's basically like keeping the door open. So but great question to Zuli that asked. Did we have any other questions, Teresa?
No, I don't see any other questions. I've been trying to answer them in the chat myself. I think we answered the text question, but I did have one question before we wrap up. Do you ever run into any language barriers with all of the different regions and countries that you're in?
Yes, and with Mexico, like I said, it's so important to find that connection and a strong team leader that at least speaks your language, because I've done it both ways. I tried when Scentsy opened internationally in Europe, they were also opened in Poland. And I had a contact of a contact of a contact who was in Poland, and she joined, Joanna Nibalko, or whatever her name is. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right, but she joined underneath me. Since they've cut that out because it was too much to translate that and keep it up, because there just weren't very many consultants. It didn't go. The economy is really, really poor over there, and they just had a hard time even paying for the starter kit, let alone products. But so she was on my team for a while, and I had to just only Google Translate. And I told her, I said, I'm Google translating this. I know that it's not going to be exact. So please just, if something doesn't quite make sense, ask again and we'll try it again. So that language barrier really can be a hurdle, but it doesn't need to be a mountain that you cannot get over. But it definitely is something, again, when you're committing to, I'm going to have an international team, you're committing to making it work. I cannot tell you how many 3 o'clock in the morning meetings I've had on Zoom to support my Australian team, because that was the time when they needed it. Or, getting up super early to have a kickoff Zoom with my downline in the UK. So again, there are huge benefits, but it is something that you have to commit and decide that you're going to be a part of, because it'll help you get over those language barriers, the time barriers, it makes it very hard for me to do group meetings like this, because midnight for some and 6 in the morning for others and 3 in the afternoon, and some are, it makes it very complicated. So it's worth it, but go into it with your eyes open that it will definitely make things a little bit more complicated. But like I said, with something like, my Mexico consultants, I have a whole bunch of Mexico consultants that don't speak English very well, but I have a really good strong lead right underneath me, and so she's kind of that bridge. So again, it's much easier, and that connection can be truer, because then she can either translate for me or she can be that bridge, so that they can feel supported from me, but they're gonna know that there's a lot that I just can't communicate with them one-on-one. But anyway, so yes, it is an obstacle, but don't let it keep you from it. Find a way around. There's always a way around.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been so informative. I think I'm looking at everyone on Zoom on the cameras, and they're taking notes just like I am. So we just want to say thank you so much, Becky, for all this information. And congratulations on all the success and your international global business as well.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Were there any other questions, Emily?
No, not that I saw. Everything looks good. Nothing that can't be covered via chat. So I think we're going to change gears a little bit now and talk about PRV, but also international travel, and gear up for the incentive trip. So Teresa, did you want me to go ahead and share my screen and share the video for where Scentsy's taking us next?
Yeah, we can totally do that. Just wanted to say again, thanks to Becky for taking time out of your schedule tonight to meet with us. We all appreciate you so very much. Okay,
yes,
so
thank you, Becky.
And shift gears, and we're going to move into the incentive. And I'm very curious if anyone has ever cruised before. Go ahead and put that in the comments. And Emily's going to kick us off for the second half of our Dream Struck tonight with the video that we've seen at SFR. So if you missed it, here it is.
All right, let's get it started. Oh, come on.
Oh, how awesome is that? Okay,
Yay!
so I was at, and there's some of you that are like, I've never been on a cruise. One of the things I want to say is that we are all so very blessed because everyone on this panel tonight has been on a cruise, and also has been within the top tier of the Scentsy trips. So top 100 globally in the whole entire world. I know everyone, Emily, Debbie, Carol, Kelly, Dorothy, Amber, Turner, everyone has been a part of that. So we want to go ahead and jump into this right now because we want to help you all earn this trip. We want to go on a cruise. So whether you want to go to Alaska, there's a Norwegian cruise, there's an Australian cruise, and then there's also a river cruise for Amsterdam for the top 75 global. So go ahead and put in the comments, where is your dream destination? I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those, but if you had an opportunity to choose one, which would be your first choice? I want to go ahead and jump this over to Kelly Rashaw. What are your tips? We want to talk about focus, because earning these trips is not a cakewalk. It does take effort. But what are the focal points that you depend on whenever you go into earning a trip like this?
Number one would be strategy. You guys have to be very strategic in your maneuvers when doing it. The first thing I do is I go down and I print out my team list, not my group list, my team list. So these are people that I personally sponsored, because there is points there that you might not know about. I go through each one by their rank and see what they are capable of. Sometimes they are capable of something that they have no idea. They may be a certified consultant, and in my head, they should be a star consultant. So by their name, I don't see it. Like maybe there's Annette's watching, and let's say Annette's a certified consultant, but I know Annette should be a star consultant because she has 2 people on her team, so she has potential. So to be a star consultant, we all know you need 2 people on your team. So by Annette's name, even though she's certified, I will put an SC, and I'll put, if we go with right now on our incentive points, I'll put 2,000 points. So me helping Annette gets me what I want. And it also helps Annette get what she wants. So what I do is I am very big in helping my team grow and helping them get to the next level. I don't necessarily look at, let's say we'll take the sponsoring piece, because that's what scares everybody the most. So I want to get that covered. I don't have to go sponsor 8 people. That is not what that says. In my head, I correlate that to maybe I need to recruit or sponsor 2 people and help 6 people promote. And what happens when your people promote? You, number one, you make more money. 2, you get incentive points. 3, you have people that are so damn happy on your team, they don't want to stop and they don't want to slow down, because what's better than going on a trip to Alaska, but going on a trip to Alaska with all your friends? Because you know what? They didn't join you because they didn't know you, hopefully. It does happen every now and then, but these people joined you because they trust you. You're probably 80% their friend, and they want to do these things with you. Sometimes the big thing is, though, that they don't believe that they can do these things. They think that earning these trips is for those big wig people. Them big trips are for the SSDs. Like, it comes easy to them. And the one thing I'm going to tell you guys, it's not easy for us. It is harder for an SSD to earn the trip than a certified consultant. And I'm going to tell you why. We don't get promotion points. We don't get, when you guys promote to certified lead, star, superstar, all those, you guys get points for that. We don't. And sometimes that's about 7,000 to 10,000 points in the bucket right there. So if you're brand new, let's say you're an essential consultant, you have that potential to get all them promotion points. And what happens when you're promoting up this ladder like this, your friends are coming with you. So your 3 friends just joined the bandwagon. I know somebody in my head right now, I know she's Sam. Sam joined a couple months ago. Sam has a team of 10. So let's say Sam starts working with her team, because right now they're all new, but you know what? They're getting their feet wet right now. But August 1st, they start kicking butt. She gets these 8 people to lead consultant. There's Sam's 8,000 points right there. But what happens if Sam's 8 people get to lead at the same damn time? That's 8,000 points, right? And Sam puts in her 500. She's at 8,500. Chances are they're going to be a little bit over 8,500. She's probably going to promote to a director, which also gets her more points. So I want you guys to print out the sheet with all the points on it. And then I want you to print out your team list, only the people that you sponsored. If you didn't sponsor them, you can still help them, but the people that you sponsored are worth actual points. Then I want you to go down the list and see what their potential is. If they're a certified consultant, every single person on that list has the potential to be a lead consultant. They have to sponsor 1 person. Why would you not want to promote in the busiest season of the year? There are some people that say, well, I don't think I can. You know why they think they don't can? Because they don't know how. And it's your job as their sponsor to teach them how. That's also going to come back and give you 1,000 points. It is not a waste of time. So Me personally, I go through and I print them all. I put little things by them. I put point values by their names. I go through. Then there's your sales, but I'll let somebody else cover the sales part. I'll just cover that part. You can get it by your sales. You can get it by recruiting. You can get it by helping your team grow. You can get it by personal promotions. You can get it, I believe, I haven't really studied the incentive plan like I should because I've been crazy busy. I don't know if it's on there for consistency. I know it was last year and that got you some buku points. If you're consistent for 5 months, then you get a bonus. And you guys, these bonuses are killer. And they can make or break the trip. So not only do you earn the trip, but then there's top tiers. And was that last year? Yeah. So last year, 2 years ago now, I was shooting for level, I don't know, whatever the level is before the top level. I didn't care about the top level. And then the last, I don't know, week, I got a hair up my butt. And I was like, you know what? All my friends are going on this damn top tier trip. I better get my butt in gear. And I start working the last week of the month or the incentive because now I want to go with my friends. I don't want to have FOMO and be left out while they're all in the tulips dancing around in their fancy dresses and hats. So I put my butt in gear and I did not get top 150, right? However, there was some people that couldn't go because of weddings, because of school, because of graduations, because of babies, because of pregnancy. And then my points were high enough. I don't know. I was within 20 points, you guys, of the top 150. And they sent me that email saying, hey, Kelly, you want to come see the tulips? Hell yeah, I want to come see the tulips. And I still made it. But had I not worked my butt off that last week, even though I didn't think it mattered, I wouldn't have got it. So even in the last hours, down to the final thing, I want you guys to make sure that you're busting your butt, especially if you would love to go on one of them top tier trips. I know it happened to somebody else when I was on a top trip in Greece. There was a lady, and I won't ever forget her name's Lois, and she's probably 80 right now. And she cried on that trip because she didn't feel like she belonged to be there. She belonged to be there. And her and her husband sat there and cried because they were one of them people that got the emails because somebody else couldn't go to Greece at that time. Because a lot of the times the trips are over graduations and different areas and stuff. And somebody couldn't go, and Lois and Larry were blessed to be able to go to Greece. And I tell that story a lot of time because people give up, and you guys can't give up. You have to just keep going because you never know how close you really are. Hi.
Thank you, Kelly. And again, Kelly has gone on so many incentive trips. I don't think she's missed one since I've known her. So thank you for sharing that and also covering sponsoring. That is very critical. You have to sponsor. And Scentsy puts that into the whole strategy because when you sponsor, it really helps promote a thriving long-term business. She also talked about promotions. That not only do you want to sponsor new life into your business, but you also want to look at your existing life. And Misha asked the question, well, what if you have some bumps on the log, like some consultants that are right now that are just kind of checked out? They have a choice. They can stay checked out, but it's totally up to them. Or you have a choice. You have a choice to be a good leader, to check in with them, to say, hey, I know it's been kind of dormant. I know it's been, silent, radio silent, but I just wanted to check in with you to see, if you're going to join us this fall and winter, because if you are, I want to help you. We've got some awesome promotions and product reveals that are on the way. You really don't want to miss out on this. Plus it's extra Christmas spending money, right? But it's good to check in. Don't count out your bumps on the log, because you never know what could be going on in their life and what could revive their businesses. Sometimes they just want attention too. They feel like they're not part of the community, then they also check out, okay? So thank you for sharing, Kelly. And I want to pass this over to Dorothy. Dorothy, do you mind giving one tip? I know we've got about 11 minutes left, but sure. Do you mind giving 1 or 2 tips as far as how you have earned top 100 global trips?
Yes, of course. There's 2 things I can think of, and I'll be real quick. You may start off thinking, I can't, earn a top tier trip. That's where you're wrong. Just like Kelly said, you shoot for the top, and then wherever you land at level 1, 2, 3, or even the top tier is going to be amazing. And it's going to be good for not only yourself, but for your business as well. When I earned top 100 for Marco Island, I was in the second to the last week. It ended January 31st. We were halfway through the month and someone told me, oh, you can't do it. Don't expect to earn that. You're not going to be able to. My Scentsy friends said, don't listen, don't listen to the negativity, just focus and just do as hard as you can. Go for it, go for it. And so I was hesitant, I was nervous, I was scared. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, I knew I had already earned like level, whatever it was. And so I went for it and I ended up earning that top tier for that trip. So, don't let all the negative thoughts get in your head and mess you up and everything. You just focus on growing your whole organization and good things will come. The other thing I want to mention is about the consistency that Kelly talked about. The consistency point, start off making a plan now how you're going to earn at least 1,000 PRV, if not more, in August, so that you're not rushing or hustling at the end of the incentive period, because you need 1,000 PRV for at least 5 months out of the 6 months incentive period. So start focusing on that now. How are you going to get 1,000 PRV in August, which should be very easy with our new catalog, but make a plan for it now. Make a plan for now. Don't wait till December when half your customers are checked out because it's Christmas at the end of the month and things like that. Start focusing now to get that 1,000 PRV in August, and then you can work towards the rest. But at least you know that you got it covered in August, and you only need 4 more months to have at least 1,000 PRV or more.
Dorothy, tell them about how each dollar counts and also how fundraisers can help.
Okay, yes. So basically for our PRV, it's PRV equals 1 point. PRV, one PRV equals 1 point for the incentive points. And as far as fundraisers have helped me huge. Fundraisers helped me earn my very first incentive, which is actually a cruise. It was a cruise to the Caribbean. And by doing the fundraisers, I earned about 10,000 PRV in a single month just by having about approximately $10,000 fundraiser in the month of November. So fundraisers are huge. Fundraisers are a huge way to plan your fall. There's so many opportunities. It doesn't have to just be with schools. It doesn't have to be in person. There's so many ways to do online fundraisers using QR codes and things like that. So don't count those out at all, because they are a good way for a huge PRV boost.
Okay, I love what you shared. So Dorothy just kind of went over earning the incentive early. So even if you have 1,000 PRV for 5 out of the 6 months between August and January, Scentsy is saying, you know what, we're going to throw you 2,500 extra points. So don't skip over August. Don't sleep on August and then have to worry about it in January. The other thing too is just in general, with fundraisers, parties, high PRV, even sponsoring, get as many people that want to join your team where you've planted seeds or can plant seeds, get them to join now. Don't wait until January where you have all the points you need, except you're missing 1,000 or 2,000 sponsoring points. So thank you so much, Dorothy, for sharing about earning the incentive early, and then also fundraisers. Sometimes you can look at these points like just to earn SFR, you need 18,000 points and no sponsoring points. That is doable for absolutely everyone. So everyone should be able to earn Salt Lake City, Utah. But also the next, I think, point structure is 24,000-ish points, right? We can do this, and we can do this together. But even with a fundraiser, like Dorothy said, 1 month she had 10,000 PRV in a fundraiser. That would be more than half of what she needs to get to Salt Lake City. So thank you again for sharing about the importance of fundraisers. That's one of my focal points where Kelly talked about strategies. One of my strategies going into this season is straight up blasting fundraisers. I want to move over to Amber Turner. Amber Turner, can you talk about any systems or mindset? What do you do to earn your trips?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyone who knows me knows that I'm a planner, and as soon as the incentive point qualifications come out, I need paper and pen immediately. So I have already started. Well, I've already made my plan. Like we all saw the sneak peeks, right? It's okay to say that. I've already made my plan. So that's number one. You've got to make your plan and you've got to be ready like now for when August 1 hits. Like Dorothy hit on, you can go ahead and start getting that PRV now. You guys, if you haven't realized it, August 1st is Sunday. Is that right? August 1st is Sunday. So I'm collecting pre-orders right now for Sunday. I will not miss those consistency points. I will never miss my 2,000 for monthly sales. So get your plan and start front loading right now. When you sit down with a tracker, you are going to be overwhelmed if you've never made your plan before. We did this at my SFR retreats and people started making their plans and you could just see people hit their walls. So know that that's going to happen. Sit down and make your plan with an open mind. The very first thing when you start looking at all of these points is you're going to be overwhelmed. Start with what you have control of, and we've talked so much about PRV. Set your PRV goals realistically, but set them high, because it is super hard to earn a trip, but it's also super hard to pay for a trip. Earning a trip is also building your business in the meantime. So no, it's going to be hard. No, you're going to have to push yourself and just go for it. Start with what you're in control of, and that's going to be your PRV. Set your goals, write them down, figure out, like they said, how to get those consistency points, and go ahead and start calculating those two things. Focus on your title, your paid at rank points, whatever you think that you're realistically going to be able to get. Again, push yourself. So you might be certified and you're like, well, I don't know how in the world I'm supposed to get star paid at rank points. You can do it. Again, you're just going to have to push yourself, but you have to map those things out. If you hope to earn a trip, you're not going to earn a trip. You really have to be systematic in your planning. If you earned any points from the summer incentive, the keep growing, keep flowing, don't forget to count those in. And then, like Kelly mentions, that's my favorite thing, list out your front line. You might say, Amber, I don't have any front line right now. We're going to get you some. But if you do have front line right now, list them out. Where do you plan for them to go, and start planning on those people? And then, like Dorothy said, and that is my favorite tip of all time, earn the incentive in 5 months. Yes, it's 6 months. You have between August 1st and January 31st. Don't earn it the last 5 months. Earn it in the first 5 months for a couple of reasons. One, you're going to be able to breathe in January and at Christmas. Can I get an amen for that? Two, throughout this qualification period, you're going to be growing a team and you're going to be sponsoring people. You want to be able to focus on them at the end, and you don't want to be scrambling for points yourself at the end. And then the final reason is because you never ever want to be that consultant that's posting on January 31st. I only need 563 more points to earn this trip. Like, don't be that person. Be graceful and earn it in the first 5 months. But yes, sit down and make that plan. Let yourself be overwhelmed. Don't count yourself out. Yes, it's hard to earn a trip, but it's also really hard to pay for a trip and not build a business that's going to have residual income over time.
Excellent. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Amber. And I love how you said, listen, get pen and paper and let's get to work. You know, let's start writing this down. And here's the deal. So Amber has her notebook. I have my notebook. And as she mentioned, it was kind of leaked to us. We should not right now know what the point structure is, but thank goodness it was leaked and we all know. So on many of our team pages, you'll find a tracker. I love this one because it's just like an Excel spreadsheet. Matter of fact, all of these blocks should be filled in with numericals, okay? Not words. So I just wanted to share this with you. Like, this is my plan to earn top 75. Also on the back is where I listed all of my frontline and opportunities for them to promote to lead, star, certified director. But we need to start now. I need to start nurturing them and helping them right now and with their business. Here's the deal. Scentsy's already put in good works. The products that we saw during Scentsy Family Reunion, amazing. So there's no issue, in my opinion, as far as being able to earn the PRV. Also, if you haven't heard yet, on the end of month live on Saturday with Dan Orchard, there's more reveals that have not been shared yet. And I'm like, what else could they possibly have to share with us? So stay tuned on Saturday for that. I want to go ahead and jump over to Debbie Pitts-Palmer. Like all of us, she's earned every single trip, top tier, top 100. For Disney, she earned level 6. and walked away with $11,000 from a cash buyout. And so, Debbie, what is your strategy, especially when it comes to sponsoring, which is kind of a weak area for some?
Okay, first of all, claim it. That's the first thing. Secondly, the little tracker you were talking about that Scentsy has, I'm kind of different. I don't watch those. I don't use those. What I use is the goal tracker, because I always know if you hit the annual mentor, you will not only earn the trips, you will earn them at the top level. So I always teach my team members to focus on the goal tracker, because if you can fill that up, if you're able to get 14 people to join and you get them certified and above, you will earn the trip, not just at any level, but at the top level. So that's my focus. That's always been my focus. So last year, I tried to do all I can to help make them see that it's not hard. People think that sponsoring is hard, but it isn't. And how I came up with this idea, I came up with the idea of allowing people, letting them know that there are ways to join Scentsy where they don't have to pay any money. A lot of times the struggle is to come up with a $99. So setting them up for success will help them get to the places that they never thought they could get to. So we decided to do this, and we did it together. We got them to earn a kit, flipping those parties. We went from that to pushing them to certified. Then we went from that to pushing them to Sensational Star Level 3. That was our goal. So not only did they earn the kit, they made it to Sensational Star Level 3, which meant that they moved to Star Consultant. So that's the goal, and that's the plan. So if you can move them to earn the kit, keep those parties open yourself. Personally, I keep 3 parties open. I keep 3 parties open, because what I'm gonna do for those people who we set up to earn the kit, if they fall short, some kind of way, if they fall short, I'll give an example. I got a guy, he's gonna sign up in August. His PRB, he's not a consultant yet. His orders, I think he has like $130 some in orders. So I have a kit. I'm going to bless him with that. Well, what's going to happen with his orders in that party that he has? What's going to happen with that? You don't want that party to go to waste. So I am going to change the host to me. So I'm going to keep those parties going. So each time I have those little bitty parties, not parties, anytime I have those little random orders, I'm going to include that link for that party that I've just changed over to me, build up more rewards, and keep those parties going. Keep 3 at a time, and you try to cap them off at $500, because if you see yourself, that's a waste to me. Keep them at $500. This way, you're going to be able to recruit more people. Now, if those people are not able to get all the PRB within a 30-day period, that's when you want to offer them, if you have a party open, give it to them, because then you can't flip it. If they don't get the PRB, if they are not able to get all the PRB within that 30-day period, you can't flip it anyway. So that's when you want to offer that kit to that person that you see that's really trying. You want to offer to them and use that somewhere else. You got me? So this is the strategy that I'm using, this is what I'm teaching my team members, and it works. And it's a simple way to take off the edge from people saying that they can't recruit.
Thank you, Debbie. I know you are definitely a sponsoring queen, and I know those points help you, but you sponsor year round, which is awesome. So thank you for those tips. I saw a lot of people saying that this is really good information. One of the things that I want to add here as we bring this to a close is when everything was announced during Scentsy Family Reunion, we saw excitement everywhere. We're still seeing excitement. So many are excited to go to Alaska, but here's the deal. No one's excited to fill out the tracker. So one of the things I did on my team page was saying, hey, let me see your tracker. You know, I want to go so bad. I'm working so hard. Let me see your tracker. Many people have not filled out the tracker. In order to earn these trips, you have to have a plan. Everyone has a different plan. Everyone that you've heard from tonight has a different plan. But what's the same is we're all going to get to Alaska or, Scandinavia or wherever, Norway, Australia, wherever we end up going. But you have to have a plan. You have to educate yourself. If you ever find yourself asking a question like, hey, how many points is it for this? that means you haven't done diligence. And if you really want to earn this trip, you need to own it and you need to do diligence. The only time that you really should be asking a question is if it's not in the FAQ. So I'm going to turn this around just a second here. On your workstation, it's available right now. If you click on incentive on your workstation, you can see the overview. They actually have it listed, Celebration at Sea. I don't think the tracker is up to track your progress yet. Let me just double check and sneak and see. No, I don't see it there yet. But also you can click how to earn, okay? And it tells you when it starts, all the information how to earn. You should not be asking your sponsor or your director these questions. And I just want to be very clear. If you want to earn this trip, you really need to do what your sponsors and what your directors are doing, and you need to educate yourself. I know sometimes it's a lot of information to remember, but Scentsy has even put some scenarios together to say, hey, my starting title is certified, lead, star consultant, superstar consultant. Here's a strategy. One of the things I'm noticing across the board is in every strategy is 2,000 PRV, okay, for the most part. So you want to make sure that you look at those scenarios, be well informed and be very educated. The FAQ, who is eligible to earn? What is the qualification period? How many points do I need? You know, how are bonus points calculated? Can a new consultant earn this trip? These are things that you really want to educate yourself on. We do it. We're very serious about earning the trips, and I want to make sure that I've crossed every T and dotted every I. Sometimes I even print some things in a binder so that way I have quick access to it. But if you're going on your team page saying, hey, how many points do I get if I promote to lead? Then I have to ask, have you read this? You know, are you really serious about earning this trip? Because if you are, number one, it starts with a plan. Your plan might look differently than my plan, but if you're not willing to do this, then I have to question if you're really willing to earn this trip. So if your director or your sponsor says, hey, I want to partner with you. I just saw that you want to earn this trip. Where's your tracker? Don't say I'll get it to you next week. All right. Don't say I haven't done it yet. I'm doing it right now. I'll get it over to you in 5 minutes. So that way we can look and make sure that your plan is something that's reasonable for you. And if there's something that you might have missed, your sponsor or your director might be able to help you. Okay. But again, I wanted to emphasize that because I noticed this weekend that there were so many people saying, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to earn this trip. And I said, let me see your tracker. Oh, I don't have it. Well, you're not trying hard. So anyway, that's, I just want to say, if you want to try hard, start with your plan, have your own strategy, you know, network, but make sure that you stay laser focused. If you're in 500 Scentsy groups, you need to minimize and say, okay, what are the important groups that I need to be in? So that way, you know, I'm on track. I know I need to be on my team page. I know that there's a monthly movement group that is phenomenal, but find just a handful of groups, you know, a flyer group. So that way you're not all over the place, swimming in the dark. So definitely have a plan. Again, I want to reiterate, because I did see where some filled out this form, this tracker that's floating right now. And I saw where people put like personal promotion, they put lead or star. Everything needs to have a number, not a title, not a rank, nothing. Every single one of these boxes should have a column should have a number associated with it. Then what you want to do is you want to add up every single column and make sure that it amounts to either 18,000 points, 25,000 points, or 45,000 points or plus, okay? Again, you don't, this probably isn't a popular thing to say, but if you have anyone interested in joining your team, go ahead and get them ready right now and let them hit the button on August the 1st. If they join today, it will not, them promoting to certified will not count for them or for you for the, for this incentive trip. The last thing too is promotions. I cannot tell you how important and how critical it is to help your team promote. Don't let this be about me, I. I see that a lot of times, like, oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on the training. I'm going to be on Dreamstruck. What I want to see is we are going to be there. My team's going to be there. You know, stop using the singular and start using the plural, because you cannot earn this trip alone. Earning this trip is an amazing privilege, but it takes teamwork. It takes togetherness. We are better together. So with your upline, stay connected, and also with your downline and your frontline. Make sure that you stay connected with the group. Sometimes there's support groups out there too. Either way it goes, you cannot do this by yourself. The last thing I want to say is standards. Make sure that you are reading the Scentsy standards going into this incentive. You cannot bonus buy your way into an incentive trip. What does that mean? If you see that someone is very close to certifying, but they're not moving their hightail to, they might need a 6-pack of bars only. You cannot go on their website and purchase a 6-pack of bars with your credit card going to your address, because Scentsy is going to audit you and them, and then this trip could possibly be removed from you. So make sure that you're following that. Also, if you're very close to earning a trip, but you're 1,000 PRV away, or 2,000, don't go into debt earning this trip. That's not what we want you to do. We want you to do this the ethical and right way. So make sure that you're reading the Scentsy standards. We can't gamble. We can't do raffles and all those other things. So make sure, because there will be an audit process at the end of the 6-month period to make sure that we're in compliance with federal guidelines, the DSA, not just Scentsy guidelines. All right. So with all that being said, we went over all the joy. We went over some of the, not so fun parts of this, but we want to see you all in 2020 on a cruise ship. All right. So I want to make sure that I didn't miss anyone. Emily, did you have anything that you would like to add and close us out?
No, I think we covered just about everything, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's trackers. I hope on our next call, we have a lot more people with them filled out.
Yeah. Yes. So we have homework to do, you guys. And matter of fact, don't wait until the next call. Maybe what we can do as SSDs is make one thread and say, show me your plan. And then that way we can all be accountability partners. The moment that you put this out in the universe and put it in a thread, and don't worry about it being right or wrong. Matter of fact, if there's a mistake or a misstep, someone might catch it and help you, and you want that. But we're going to make a thread. We're going to commit to making a thread, and we want to see everyone that's serious about going print this out, or you can use an app and do it electronically, but we want to see your plan. We are going. We want to make sure that you all are going as well. We don't want to go alone, and we want you to bring a guest too. So you guys have an excellent night. Thank you so much for dreaming with us again. And we will be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, to dream all over again. So thank you all so much. See you in Alaska.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.